Hey, you guys, as promised, I wanted to do a video showing you how to use Pinterest to promote either your products, let's say your t-shirts or your blog posts in the not new era, because this has been going on for about 4 years now, but Pinterest has changed a lot since when I first did the Pinterest video like some 5 years ago. And you don't necessarily need followers to get exposure like you did before. And I think that's the biggest misconception. I saw somebody in another group saying that you should never create a business account with Pinterest because you won't get the followers. The followers don't matter. You want a business account. I shouldn't say they don't matter, but you don't necessarily need them to get traffic. You want a business account with Pinterest because it's free and you get access to their analytics tab over here on the left, which gives you great information about your traffic and which images are getting shared the most, how many clicks they're getting. And so I highly recommend creating a business account, even though you might not get as many followers. So let's talk about the old Pinterest and the new Pinterest. Now, the old Pinterest, when they first created Pinterest, they really did want it to be a social networking site. It was built with the premise that you follow people and people will follow you in return. You'll see the pins of the people you follow and you'll comment on them and you'll share those, very much like Twitter and Instagram, right? You're seeing the people you follow in your feed. Well, in 2014, that all changed. They created what they call a smart feed. So the smart feed is your homepage that is personalized based on the interest that you specified when you set up your account. So I just set up this little dummy account just a few minutes ago just to show you all. And I chose healthy eating and food as something that I'm interested in. And so when I go to my homepage, this is what I see. So it's important to note that I'm not following any of these people at all. These are coming up just because these are popular pins and they match the subjects of interest that I entered. So from a person that's selling something, if you are, let's say, selling healthy food shirts or eating shirts or whatever, your shirts will appear on the feed of people who have expressed interest in shopping for running shirts or healthy eating shirts or whatever. So that's the whole idea. How do your pins show up? By describing them and using good titles and using good descriptions. And I'm going to go through an example for how that works. So I think the biggest thing to understand is that you don't need followers. I just created my account back in June. I think it was mid-June. And here's a screenshot from the end of August. Look at the exposure that my pins are getting. And now the clicks are starting to come in. And one thing I love about Pinterest is that you can get exposure and clicks from an image you post years and years and years down the line. You're not going to get that with other social networks. You know, you post something on Twitter, it's gone after a couple of hours unless it goes viral. But with Pinterest, you get that long-term exposure, which is what, in my opinion, it makes it worthwhile. Now, the biggest disadvantage for Pinterest for most of us, and I know this kind of rubs people the wrong way, you're not going to be able to track how many sales are coming in as a result, unless you have access to a tracking pixel. So let's say Redbubble, for example, gave us a tracking pixel. And so every time a sale was made, we know exactly where it came from. Most of us don't have access to that. So we won't really know. We can just test the clicks. But I'm telling you, once you set up your account, it is so quick and easy to start sharing. It just takes a couple of minutes a day and you'll get long-term exposure benefits from this. And it's worth it, in my opinion. And if you're already making good money with POD and you can afford it, it might even be worth hiring a VA to just go through all your print-on-demand accounts or whatever you're selling and just pin all your shirts or pin all your products. It just might be worth it because the traffic potential, the exposure potential is great. And it happens very, very quickly if you do it right. So, like I said, I created this little test account. And so I told them that I was interested in health food and healthy recipes and all of that. Let's pretend that I'm using Pinterest to share the shirts that I upload to Redbubble. Now, this is a shirt that I found that I thought was very clever and very funny. Eat pasta, run fasta. Love it. Let's say this is your shirt and you want to share this to Pinterest. Pinterest has a Chrome plugin or add-on that you can add to your browser. So all you do is go up and click the little red P. And now you have all these options of things you can share, of images you can share. Now you can either just share the image itself or you can share the image of the guy wearing the shirt. I would actually recommend doing both because you want somebody wearing the shirt so people know it's a shirt. But I found that people tend to share and repin the plain images actually more than people wearing the shirt. Now, the downside to that is, though, a lot of people might not know it's a shirt. So, I mean, that's one of the risks I guess you take. But I would pin both of these. So how you would do that is you would just click the save and notice that there's already a description here. Well, this is put in automatically by Redbubble. So the author of this shirt entered this as their description. And so it already pre-populated this from Redbubble. But if you want to edit this with more juicy keywords, you could say funny running shirt about eating pasta. Great tea for pasta lovers. Something like that. You want to be thinking about keywords because the keywords are what help your images get shown in that smart feed that I talked about. Very important. So now you want to add it to a board. Now, a board is like an area of interest on Pinterest. So if you have a healthy eating brand or whatever and you're using Pinterest, you might want to set up boards for each topic. You might have a running, I don't know why I'm using running and healthy eating, but you know what I'm saying. It's a health brand, just for an example. So you might have a kale board. You might have an exercise board. Maybe this one will go in the exercise board. You might have boards that are organized based on the type of things that you post or the products that you have. So if you have a lot of running shirts for your healthy eating brand and your exercise brand or whatever you're doing, then you can create a board called running shirts. Again, using that keyword, running shirts. And you can even get more descriptive if you want. So you click create. So now you've just created a board and you added the image of this shirt to the board. So if anybody happens to run across this image in the Pinterest smart feed, it now links to your shirt on Redbubble automatically. So let's go back and do the guy wearing the shirt. So we're going to click the P and then click save. We're already inside running shirts. Looks like this already has a nice little description here. We wanted to go into this board. If we wanted to go to a different board, we click create board, but we wanted to go to the same board. We're going to click save. And now it's saved to my running board. So let's see what this looks like on Pinterest. Let's go over to our Pinterest account. And here's our little account, the Super Health Nut. See how Pinterest populated one of our pins as our little background. Here's our board that we set up called running shirts. So when I click the board, here are our two images. So if someone were to come across these images on Pinterest, this is how they would look. And they can see it's from Redbubble. So you can do this for anything. You can do this for merch by Amazon. You can do it for Zazzle, whatever you want to do. I'm just choosing Redbubble as an example. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever you want to do. Now, just make sure you check terms of services for all these PODs. I'll be brutally honest. I have not gone through and checked every terms of service for the PODs. So maybe somebody might say what you can and cannot do with Pinterest. And so just check on that. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But this is an example of what you can do with Pinterest. So you would create different boards that reflect what you might be posting. So if you've got a lot of kale shirts that you're going to upload, you might create a board called kale shirts. And so you would pin all your kale shirts to that board. Okay. So just remember when you're pinning stuff to always describe them with the keywords. That's the most important thing because that's what's going to help all of your stuff get found in that smart feed. And then after, let's say a month or so, after pinning a few things, go over to your analytics tab here and go over to overview. And hopefully you'll see some results like I saw with my account. Now, obviously, this is a new account, so there's nothing here. But this is what I saw after just 2 months of using Pinterest. And now the clicks and traffic are starting to come in. And I'm telling you, it takes less than 5 minutes a day to do this stuff. Now, when you first set everything up, it might seem a little overwhelming. But once you start uploading your images and your designs, just take a couple seconds to pin it to Pinterest when you're done. If you guys have any questions, let me know and I'll talk to you soon.